firstly, Don, would you just like to introduce yourself and tell us what it is that what you do and how your
Yeah.
Zoom discos
Okay.
started?
Sure. This is my friend Flipper, and I am Don Callaghan, and it's funny. I have been working on this for like, well, 30 years actually, because even before the internet had voice and video, we were typing to each other, right? Um, But but the problem with that is that a lot of people with intellectual disabilities can't read and write, right? So this has made a gigantic, amazing difference. I mean, it is so revolutionary that words defy explanation, really. But anyway, it isn't me, you know. I mean, I'm just one person. There are thousands of us, you know. Thousands of us are discovering that we can talk with each other right now for the first time. That knocks me out.
Working with people with intellectual disabilities for 30 years, Don.
Well, longer than that, actually, 40 years, since 1977. All right. And, I've seen a lot of really terrible things, of course. I mean, if you've been in the field in 1977, you saw a lot of bad things. And really bad attitudes. I mean, really, really bad attitudes. And but the spirit inside of the People First movement, I don't know. Are you folks? I don't know that much about your group. Okay, I worked with the Northamptonshire People First and Neil Morris and Karen Spencer 20 years ago, right? And we did this 20 years ago. Really, not kidding. It wasn't as good as this. All right, this is amazingly good. I mean, I can tell who's happy, who's sad, who's bored. Really, I mean, it's amazing. It's just amazing. And I'll try not to bore anybody, you know. But uh, it is so fantastic. I really can't. I can't explain it. Last night, last night, I was walking with Becky Rose, who is in Australia. All right. I'm 10,085 miles away from Becky Rose. And she's out there walking in the broad daylight in a beautiful area, beautiful place in Australia. And I'm outside in the dark, you know, walking by my lake, which is a beautiful lake, but you can't see it in the dark, you know. But it was really I mean, I just am so excited about it. But anyway, to be more less excited and exuberant, what we are doing is there's a group in Washington State, People First of Washington State, who has two meetings every day for 3 hours, once in the beginning of the first session, and then the second session is later in the day, and we meet 7 days a week, twice a day, 3 hours each time, if you can believe that. Okay, and we know each other like we're old friends. We know all of our characteristics. We know they know of my ridiculous sense of humor. All right, and we also know the miserable stories that we have. All right, and all of us have miserable stories. And but the I'm rattling on here. I'm so excited about this. It's very hard for me to stay to any kind of script. It really is. I think about the people that I've talked to, like people at Fernald, and I do think about, I asked them, what was your first day here like, right? You know, their first day in the institution, and they often can tell you every tiny little detail about it. And it's easy for them to talk about. They remember it like it's been burned into their head. And that's how dramatic the being institutionalized is. Uh, it's like going to prison, you know.
I've done some research into the People First movement, and I believe, if my research is correct, that the People First movement actually originated in the US and then made its way over here and then across the world. So
Great. Thanks for the.
There are
Thanks for that.
different interpretations. I heard once that it was in Sweden,
Right.
and my understanding is that it's a 50-year-old idea, at least 50 years old. Probably an idea that's hundreds of years old or thousands of years old. But the two words are elegant. Those two words are elegant, and that's, I think, why we have that emotional connection to that. You know, people first. You know, you don't have to say anything more. You know,
Could you say a bit about you mentioned back in the 70s, because obviously you've been doing this for a long time,
mhm.
and you were saying that uh, the issues that you were dealing with were perhaps a lot more severe, more
Yeah,
serious,
yeah,
more stark.
yeah.
Um, just so that we got a sense of the journey of People First in the US over the years. Could you give us an overview of what it might have been like in to have disabilities um, at that time?
Um, it's like you can't even talking about it is hard, you know. And my personal experience was not a direct experience. All right. I mean, I had diagnosis. All right, when I was a kid, and I had trouble in school, and I worked in a sheltered workshop in 1972. All right. Um, but it was ADHD. I mean, it wasn't you know, pervasive developmental disorder. I mean, it was ADHD. So my language skills are pretty good, and but I have whole gaps in my skills. All right, I have terrible organization, as you might be able to figure out by my trying to present this, and my memory is terrible. So you know, I've had problems with all of those things. But anyway, I was able to hide the disabilities well enough so that I could work in the field for 40 years. So I worked as a direct support worker in uh, the oldest institution in the Western Hemisphere. Um, you know, ridiculous, horrible place. Walter Fernald State School in Waltham, Massachusetts. Okay, and so I witnessed firsthand the disrespect that was so obvious there every single day. People. I mean, I don't even like talking about it. It's just horrible stuff. Um, Not so much overt physical abuse or any, but constant insulting, constant belittling, wide use of the R word, and all of that. And I had to hide my revulsion because if I had ever told anybody how mad I was, I wouldn't have been able to be in that business for 40 years, you know? I mean, that's just the way it is. Um, so, anyway. But what are the terrible stories? I always say that you don't want to listen. I don't want to tell the story. I don't want to tell somebody else's story, right? They should tell their story. And if you want to see a story, you can look up the history. You can look up Fernald State School on YouTube, and there's a guy named Joseph Alameda, all right, and he lived it. And there are lots of other people. There are hundreds of thousands probably of people who have first-hand experience living inside institutions. You should watch them.
Um, I know from personal experience that working with someone who has a disability helps me to talk to them like more openly. Do you find that with your clients?
Yep.
That when they find out that you have a disability, they're more willing to talk?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. That's what I actively think about trying not to sound like I'm some kind of professional. All right, because that's I think it's better, and I think it's better to use plain language, you know, and not to worry too much about what you look like, you know. One of the things actually that's really interesting is like, we have people who have intellectual disability, and they are so good at this stuff. It's unbelievable, right? I mean, really, people who have intellectual disability are better at technology than the staff people are. Really, I'm not
Do
kidding.
you feel though that's because they rely on it to communicate and also to be in a social environment without feeling pressured to do so? So
Absolutely.
that's why they get better at using tech.
Yep, absolutely. They've wanted this forever. They have wanted this technology for the last 200 years. You know.
Probably with us who are very good at technology. It blows my mind sometimes.
Turn your hand up, George.
It blows my mind sometimes. George, your sound quality is not good, but that's a good thing because that's one of the things we have to fix with this technology. All right. Like, but anyway.
What do you think the challenges are for self-advocacy groups during the time like COVID-19?
Get on Zoom. Hello.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I would do. I get every darn individual that you can find. All right. And have them on Zoom and have them do whatever. I mean, have them have fun. All right. That's what I say. Have fun. I don't like when people get on and complain and they say, "Oh, I've been treated badly and so is a son of a gun," and all of this stuff, you know. Nah, 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 nah. We have much better things to do than that. All right. Having fun, talking about your dogs and your cats, all right, and your food, the food that you like, the weather, all right. Get every single person with learning difficulty in England, you know, get them all online talking about ordinary things. Amazing things happen just when you do that. You don't have
Can
to
I
talk. Yes, ma'am.
ask how you get those who aren't necessarily technology minded or have access to the internet? How do you get them involved in what you do?
Well, what I tell everybody the same story. I do a little 2-minute video every single day. I will do one again today. And what I say to people is, the only thing you need to do to be qualified to do this is you need to be able to sit in a chair, okay? And you need to be able to be yourself. If you can do those two things, you can do this. Period. All right? It is the role of support people and friends. Friends are support people too, you know. All right? Family, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, they're all support people. It's their responsibility to figure out exactly how you put the things in line. That's all. Not a big deal. This thing, you know, we all carry these things. You can do all of this with one of these. All right? You can do every single thing with one of these. And I don't know if you have McDonald's in England.
Yes, we do.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately. But restaurants in the United States often have Wi-Fi, right? So you can go to McDonald's, sit in the parking lot, if you have a car, of course, Or if it's warm outside, you can sit outside and connect via Wi-Fi and Zoom with people all over the world who have intellectual disabilities or, learning difficult, whatever word is appropriate in your given country. All right, and enjoy this. All right, enjoy the millions of wonderful people there are all
I have
around the
a
world.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
What inspired you to want to carry on working with an organisation which repulsed you?
That is so well said. Oh my goodness. That's exactly what motivates me, you know. I could see the bigotry, and the outrageous injustice of it, just ridiculous injustice of it. How do you not, you know? I mean, really, how do you not? How do you not work on that? I mean, I, you know, I knew I am good with computers. I mean, I'm not like brilliant or anything, but like I have ADHD, so computers organize information, right? That's what my brain will not do that. All right. Um, I can't spell to save my life. A computer fixes that. All right. I can't remember my own name. I will not remember any of your names. I will not. I won't remember what you look like, you know. Computers, that's all they do is remember things. All right? They have memory in them. You go to the store and you can buy memory for a computer and stick it in there. But I go to the hospital and I say, would you please give me some more memory? And they say, well, we're not quite there yet. We're working on it, but get back to us in about 100 years, and maybe we can do something for you. You know, that kind of thing. But what motivated me to do it is that I wouldn't have been able to work in the profession had I not had a computer. All right? And I know that in my bones that the same is true for people with intellectual disability. I know it. I don't think it. It's not a theory. I know it, you know? And that's just the way it is. I mean, so I'm very motivated, in other words. I'm retired. I'm 68 years old, so I don't have to, how do you say, kiss the hem of the garment of my employer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, really. Tell me about it. And so I cannot be fired. So I can sound a little outrageous. All right, I can. I try not to go completely crazy with that, but um, I have the luxury of being able to say the things that I have learned over the last, whatever, 60 years or so. And I not worry about what people are going to call me, because I assure you they have called me every single thing you can think of. Um, but that's okay. I don't mind.
Could you,
So
we've only got about just over 2 minutes left.
yeah, okay.
And first of all, thank you so much.
Well, let's talk again, all right? Because
Absolutely,
you know.
absolutely, we definitely will, and we'll arrange that. Give us a sense of how many people come to your these Zoom discos, and when do they take place?
The Zoom, I would recommend that you go to the one in Australia. Kylie Thunburn. Oh gosh, I don't remember her name. She, All Abilities Advocacy in Australia. Kylie, go to her dance. Okay, she does it right. Everybody's got a lot of jazz and energy, you know, and they wear different costumes and hats and wigs, and they act goofy. All right, hello, how are you? You know?
Minute, just on behalf of our social media team and Advocacy for All, just a really massive thank you, Don, for spending time with us this
No
afternoon.
problem.